Okay, good morning for us here in the United States, and I'm sure good afternoon to our friends overseas. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Cynthia Morton. I am the co-coordinator for the online peer mediation platform, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about before Tom begins his webinar today. Also, I would love to hear about all you, and I'd love for you to introduce yourselves in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tell a little bit about ourselves, and then you guys can tell me a little bit about your backgrounds and what you're currently doing. So let me just talk to you a little bit about our platform. So the online peer mediation platform was a grant-funded project. We're no longer grant-funded, unfortunately, but we continue to give volunteer hours to this project that we feel very passionate about, to bring peer mediation to people who maybe do not have peer mediation programs, whether in the United States or across the globe. So we have 4 goals. And number 1, we like to provide free resources on conflict resolution and peer mediation to students. So if you went to our website, this is some of the information that you would see: useful links, research, best practices, standards, free curriculum, and media. This is what our website looks like. So our website, if you just go to any browser, Yahoo, Google, and put in online peer mediation platform, then this website will pop up, and there's all kind of information and a little bit about us as well. Our second goal is to provide online training in basic peer mediation. We actually created some modules that could be used for not only students in school, but actually older students as well, about basic peer mediation, and they're actually hosted by a student. And so we like to show schools how they can teach their students basic peer mediation skills online. So we have a 10 module, and I'll just kind of, I'm not going to really go over it, but it kind of covers everything from understanding conflict to how to set up a room for a peer mediation to how do you conduct a peer mediation online. So this is just some of our modules. Again, I'll just kind of go through them very quickly because of our time, and I want to be respectful of Tom's time. We also have in our modules, there's some surveys, quizzes, things that we have built in. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, please feel free to reach out to us. We also teach students who have peer mediation skills how to sharpen their peer mediation skills by doing role play. So kids who want to practice their skills, or even college students who want to practice their skills, can jump on our platform and practice their skills. And we are actively looking for college students who would like to be mentors to other students to help them sharpen their peer mediation or conflict resolution skills. We'll do a simulation, we'll debrief after the session, we'll record it, and then people can give us their feedback about how the session went. And then, of course, this is our dream one day, let me see if I can get to it, is for people to be able to access peer mediation online where they don't have peer mediation. In the United States, we've had some resistance to this, but we're hoping that we're just ahead of our time, and that one day we'll be able to really get people on board with having peer mediation online. So that's a little bit about us. We do offer other services, but I won't go into that because I want Tom to have time to present today. And so without further ado, Tom, I would love to introduce you.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so Tom is not only a friend of mine, but an esteemed colleague, and I'm just so pleased to have met him. Tom really helped us with our online peer mediation platform with some advice, and so from there we've really hit it off, and I'm just so glad that we've had an opportunity to work together. But today's webinar is utilizing technology for intercultural communication in the virtual world, and is the challenges and benefits of developing a mentoring program in Afghanistan. So Tom is an attorney, mediator, arbitrator, facilitator, and trainer. Of course, Tom has vast experience with international training, and so that's one of the reasons we wanted him to be on our call, is because he has vast knowledge with using technology, but also using technology internationally. And so Tom has, he has done so many wonderful things in the United States, in Paris, Vienna, Brazil, Dubai, and he's trained in peer mediation. He's trained peer mediators. He's consulted with our program, and he's also the organizer of the Global Youth Development Initiative, which I believe this is what these young folks are from. And so we're just pleased to have him on today to talk more about this initiative, and really just happy to have you guys on today to hear your experiences. So Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thanks for the kind words. And so I think before I get into the Global Youth Development Initiative, let me just share a couple thoughts about this peer mediation program with our listeners. And some of them don't know about that. And in the perfect world that Cynthia and I dream about, that someday we might be working with our colleagues in Afghanistan to teach them some peer mediation skills and describe that to them, and get you to be peer mediators in not only the high school level, the university level, and even graduate school level, where we think teaching conflict resolution skills just makes for a better world. And so that's a goal, and through GYDI and other organizations and our other work in your communities, we hope to be able to introduce you to that at some point. How did we begin to think about using technology for developing a mentoring program? We all know that most mentoring programs are face-to-face mentoring, but my experience with Cynthia's online program, and then teaching professional mediators overseas to use Zoom, which we're all on now, using that to enhance our mediation toolkit, was the primary driver behind developing an online mentoring program. So back a few years ago now, actually, it's just about 3.5 years ago, or 2.5, I'm sorry, I met some Indian students, some Afghan students in India, and we wanted to do some work together. And we realized, because of the logistical and security situations in Afghanistan, that we probably weren't going to be able to do anything other than use some online technology. And so we kicked around a few ideas, and finally we decided to do online mentoring, or at least to try that. And what were the obstacles? I think we know now that there are many obstacles with technology and other things in Afghanistan. And I think maybe I'll just take a short break, and we'll have the people who are on the call introduce themselves, and we're going to try to make this as interactive as we can. And I'm going to ask some of you some questions about the obstacles of technology, and let's see if we can make this a little bit more interactive before we go to some slides that help me describe how we started it. So why don't we start ladies first? Brejna, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So,
please.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Brejna Musazai, and I have recently graduated from the American University of Afghanistan with a Bachelor of Law degree. And I am a survivor of a terrorist attack on the American University, and I don't have a job. I stay home, but I am hoping to find a job in the future, the near future. So I think that's all about me.
Okay, we'll find out more as we go on. Okay, Masi, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Masiullah Al-Flakhin, and I think it's more than 3 years that we are in the initiative, and the Global Youth Initiative, and before that, we also had some other online programs with
That's good, Masi. Thank you. Masi was one of the
Hello?
Yeah, Masi, your your connection is going in and out now. So I'll finish what I know about you. So you can turn your mic off again now. So Masi is one of our original mentees from the first year of the program, but has been with us for quite some time. Sheikh is online too. He's new to GYDI, but Sheikh, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Ahmad Shaikh Rami. I'm graduated from computer science from Rana University and currently studying PDI in American University of Afghanistan.
And so Sheikh joined the mentoring program just this year when we added young high school students, and we also have older students as well. So Sheikh wanted to be a mentor to the younger students and a mentee who's actually, I think Alan is your mentor, right? A professional leader and PhD in psychology, actually one of our American mentors. And so the program needed to be technology driven. So I'm going to share my screen now and share some slides just so that the viewing audience who get to see the recording of this have some context as well. So let me show this, hold on. There we are. Everybody can see the slides on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is what we're going to talk about today. And as you see on this slide, there's a cave up in the mountains of Bamyan, up in the upper left-hand corner of this screen, right?
Yes.
So I invited Freshta, that's actually one of our mentees this year's home, and she built a school in her home. That's Freshna Ahmadi's home in Bamyan. She's a mentee in the program, and I include that picture just so that people who aren't familiar with the program and the obstacles or challenges can understand that at times we're trying to make an internet connection with the person or people who live in that spot, in that cave in the mountains. And so that's one of the biggest challenges that we knew we had was technology. And so, for example, right now, one of our mentees messaged me, and there was a security issue with her family that caused her to be unable to join the call. Another person contacted me and described what we know well now is that, and I'll ask some of the other participants to talk about this as well, that electricity or power is not always available. Masi, would that be true? There are times when in Kabul, for example, there is no electrical service provided.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Happens every day, perhaps, right?
yeah. You have put the picture on the shortage of electricity for 5 to 6 hours every day.
Okay.
One day in the morning, the other day
In the evening.
and the afternoon. You will face with a short here in the slides. I have gone 2 times in Bamyan. In Bamyan at all. There is not at all available. The people are using the solar system more challenges than that we have in Kabul. Yeah,
So Masi is telling us that in Bamyan, where that picture is from, that sometimes it's solar power, not electrical power. So we knew that that technology was going to interfere with developing a program. We also knew that there are security risks that interfere with just people's daily lives. And I think, Brezhna, I think you might be the best example, if you don't mind sharing us a bit of your story that describes the security risks that are prevalent, even or maybe especially for students in Afghanistan. Would you mind sharing a bit about that?
about my story.
Well, yeah, the one of
Yeah.
our challenges was we knew
Yes.
that security was going to interfere with people's ability to make time on the phone or to have mentoring sessions. So if you can describe a bit about the security risks that you are aware of in Afghanistan, that would, I think, help our viewing audience.
Like security for the students.
Yeah. So Brezhna, you tell us what happened at the university where the mentoring program really was set.
Hello, can you say it again?
Yes. So can you describe for us what happened to you as an example of the security risks that are present in the lives of students in Afghanistan?
Yeah, for like I said, I am a survivor or a victim of the attack, and it's because we don't have like a security, and student, like some people are afraid to like, go to schools or universities or offices. So yeah, it's a main problem because when there is no security, people don't feel it safe. And so like what happened to me after that, I was also scared to go out. And like the last conference I had with Gharsanai, even that day I was afraid of going to that part of the country, city, the Barchi, because that part is mostly targeted by the terrorists because of the Hazara people. They target those people. So in that day I was very scared too. And yeah, so
what Brezhna, why don't you just tell us quickly what happened? So you were at school one day and what happened?
Yeah, on the 24th of August, almost 2 years ago in 2016, a group of insurgents attacked the university, and I was there. It was evening time, and I was in the mosque of the female, and I was done with the prayer. And when they attacked the campus, I couldn't move from the mosque like for a while. And then when I left the mosque, I entered a building, and there they came after me and they shot me 3 times. But fortunately, the bullets hit my leg. So, and I was there for almost 6 hours. Oh, they shot me 2 times. The third bullet was in crossfiring. I'm not sure where did it come from, but they shot me 2 times, and I was there for almost 6 hours. And yeah, after 6 hours, I was taken to hospital. So I said it in short.
Yeah. So that's a security risk that we were aware of at the time we're developing this, that we knew that we had to have a program that had lots of flexibility, that we needed mentors who understood that there are times that scheduled appointments couldn't occur, and that there was also the need for mentees to keep their mentors informed in the program. So we spent quite a bit of time in developing the program with believing that there are great benefits in multicultural mentoring, that these shared experiences, for example, the experiences that our online participants are telling us about today, we knew would be very interesting to the mentor. So we kind of called it a cross-mentoring program, where I believe that all of us need to learn from people in other cultures about the obstacles of life in those places. In this setting, it was going to be not just about the technological challenges, but also just the life challenges of moving. For example, 3 years after the fact, Brezhna is going to speak at a conference last weekend and still is in fear of an attack. And those fears are present every day. And we needed our mentors to understand that most of us as mentors don't share that experience, that we don't know that people, just to get an education, might be at risk. And so we can learn from that experience, and we may not be the best mentors to help them through that because we haven't shared that, but we can have empathy and compassion for people in that setting. And so all of that is as the way of background. We tried to develop a program that met the needs of the mentees, and also found mentors who could live in that environment. And so our goals really, and our mission was to do this multicultural awareness building through a mentoring program, have increased self-awareness not only by the mentors but also the mentees, some sense of belonging and self-esteem that any young person needs, whether they're young high school students or university students. We knew that primarily we were working with AUAF, or American University of Afghanistan, students, that many of them entered education later in life because of the restrictions under the Taliban regime that closed down education, particularly to women. So we might have students who are 18 or 19 years old, and we might have students who are 28 or 29 years old. So we needed to have mentors who could work with any of that group. We knew that the students were really keen on academic skills, and we knew that they needed some guidance on career path development, that many of them were already working. And this was another thing that everybody should know. Unlike my experience in the States, I think that the vast majority of students at university in Afghanistan work full-time. And then go to school later in the afternoon. Masi's shaking his head. Masi, tell us a bit about that. That I think our education experience in the States and other countries is you go to school full-time. But I've yet to meet more than a handful of students who actually go to school full-time. So tell us, Masi, what the school experience is at university level, please.
Yeah, you are right. Because of the challenges that you said that we had in the past, and still that we have so old students that are going after their jobs to a school or to university. I was the same. I had a part-time job, and I was also had a full-time university. I had to go to university full-time. But you also let me talk about the security issues that you said. Today we were on office, but the office just went lockdown because of the security threats. Some candidates of the parliament has been removed from the final list of the election, and their supporters have protested about 2-3 days. The streets all locked down, and almost the offices and the organizations that are located on near to the protesters, all of them are locked down. And as you said, this is a big challenge for those who have a part-time job and go to attend the classes.
Yeah, thank you, Masi.
Because of the issues that we have, they sometimes they can attend to the class because of the rush that we have, the security challenge that we have in American University. That the time that we were most in Thursdays, the university was locked down because of the security threats. Because of the security threats, it was locked down. And the security is a big challenge. Besides the other challenge that you said, the internet, electricity, and let me say that the challenge for the woman is double.
Challenge for the woman is double,
a war-torn country. Yeah, for women the challenge is double. We see in every day, and I'm one witness of those that we see the challenge is double.
Let me ask Sheikh, not to cut you off, Masi, but let me ask Sheikh. Sheikh, do you agree with everything Masi said, and do you think the same about the challenges for women?
Yeah, the challenge is the same. Even the challenges are double, because we say that the women are facing with some harassments physically, or even online through social media, and even they are not safe in social media and online platforms that they are using. There are people, those who are disturbing them, and this is a major problem, I think,
Okay.
that we have. But let me say one thing more, that I think that online, even though that we are facing with these challenges, I think the online classes are much more safer than to have physical classes, I think. Because of some challenges, some cultural challenges that we have in families. I'm not talking about the common. I'm talking about the provinces, the remote areas in which the girls are not allowed to go to university or attend to school.
Let me move on then, Masi.
This is a good initiative and a major achievement if we implement it through the country, all around the country, and we make a strong body of students around the country, and we bring them to use this platform, and it will give them more. It will bring them more opportunities in their studies. Even the challenges that we have, I think this is a good initiative. This is a
Thank
good
you,
step
Masi. Let me summarize, and then so we can move on. So what Masi, I think, is sharing with us is that we realized, and he just articulated it very well, that using an online platform, if we can overcome the internet challenges, accounts for the security issue, so people can be in a safe place and not need to go somewhere and put themselves at risk in order to get the benefit of the program. So Masi, thank you for laying that out from your side. And that was one of the things we realized. That
Tom, let me say you one story that I just read 2 to 3 days ago.
Okay, make it quick because
a girl, I forgot the name, was not allowed to go to university after she graduated from school. So his family was against her education, but her brother went online and searched some solution what to do. Then her brother found some online courses, some bachelor courses. So he enrolled his sister to the course, and she successfully graduated from online course, and she get her bachelor. She was so happy and said that even though she was faced with some obstacles, her family was against her education, but she finally get her graduation certificate, and I think that's a good step of and good example of how to use online platforms in places where we are facing with security threats, we are facing with cultural issues, we have lots of issues, but this is a good step. Yeah.
Good, thank you, Masi. So and when I'm talking about I don't think I identified. I was hoping to have Garsane join us. So the co-founders of this are two sisters in Kabul, Garsane and Sana, and myself. And Garsane may join us before the call is over. Sana is on a work project out of the country at the moment. So we were brainstorming ideas. We knew that we had to deal with those issues, but we wanted it to be a rather traditional mentoring program. And normally the goals, as you see on the screen now, these were our goals for the mentor. We felt that there were some very high benefits to the program. For the mentee, one of the biggest benefits, and I can speak to this directly, is the opportunity to meet people from other cultures, especially in a culture that most of us would not have the opportunity of being exposed to. And we can get a great benefit from that, and learning about the education system, and all the other things that Afghanistan has to offer, and not just learn about it in the context of it being a conflicted country. most of the Western experience with Afghanistan is as a war-torn country. But through our mentoring program, we wanted the mentees to be able to share with us the beauty of their country, the cultural heritage, the many different subcultures within Afghanistan. We look at Afghanistan as Afghanistan, not as the culture in Bamyan, different from the culture in Mazar or the culture in Kabul. So we hoped that building a relationship with a mentee would expose mentors to those benefits as well. For the mentee, obviously they can learn all that about different countries too. We have American, European, Indian, and at one point I think even an African mentor. So mentees were going to be exposed to mentors from many different cultures. We believe that we could create a mentoring program that represented true mentoring. In brainstorming that, we borrowed a bit from existing mentoring programs that were a combination of school mentoring, workplace mentoring, because so many people were working already that we wanted to have mentors who were keen on doing career path development even in their workplace, because many students were going to school to supplement their job skills that they already had. We wanted to be able to build on skills that people already had, making sure that mentors, and that's why we took a lot of mentors from the conflict resolution or mediation community, because they had these listening skills already. They were quite aware of how to build trust, how to encourage people to communicate, how to identify goals or interests, how to give feedback correctly. And so many of our initial mentors had very good mentoring skills already. So those were the mentoring skills. What we wanted the mentee to learn was much the same as what the mentor already knew: how to reflect, how to listen, how to take responsibility, how to ask questions appropriately in a cross-cultural context. The idea of committing to a year-long project, how to maintain confidentiality and build trust with a mentor, how to take initiative, how to follow through on commitments, and the ability to connect the dots. We knew that you were willing to learn, that the mentees were all quite willing to learn, but that really was a skill we wanted to encourage anyway. So we thought that we would have this kind of system, a virtual or an online session, one-on-one, with a professional mentor and a peer mentor. The peers were primarily college students from around the world that I happen to have told about the program, and they wanted to participate. So we initiated a co-developing program with a professional and a peer mentor. We wanted to add to it group video sessions covering general topics so that people would be able to have, let's see who just joined. Hello. Hi, Soraya. How are you? Yeah.
I'm good, sir.
Good. I'll take a quick break and let's have Soraya. Why don't you introduce yourself? And this is being recorded, just so you know. And so don't worry. You're with a safe group here. It's a small group. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to be involved with this program today.
Actually, I'm sorry for being late, but I was interested to know about this program, so I just joined today. I am not much prepared for the session, but I would like to introduce briefly myself. I'm a student in American University of Central Asia. I am doing double major in international comparative politics and anthropology. Before, I had a degree in business administration, so it's my third degree. Meanwhile, I've been to 7-8 summer camps around the world, in Europe, like Central Asia, in a different part of Asia, Thailand. So I'm also a member in UNESCO, just a member, and I'm just voluntarily writing for them. articles and this stuff. I also have a small association for girls where I initiate some social projects for them. I recently had a camp in Bamyan, so this is what I do.
Thank you. And so I wanted Soraya to share with the group that information. And why don't you tell us, tell everybody online how you and I met.
Okay, I cannot hear you, sir. Like, I cannot hear.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Perfectly.
So just so everybody understands, how did you and I meet?
Actually, we met through Facebook, and we had a common friend. Our friend was Mursal Ayubi, who was a survivor from American University of Central American University here in Afghanistan. So
Rajna is on the call.
Him and yeah, she's on the call. Yeah. So yes, we just met through her, and like, and I requested you to join my summer camp, which was in Bamyan. And I really appreciate that. I cordially would like to thank you for what you did for me in Bamyan, and it was really good that
forget about that.
My student learned many things. Yeah, it was awesome. Like, my student learned a lot of things from you, sir, and it was a perfect session because after that they were interested to meet, to talk with you, write you, and like, it was awesome. And also they had they had their social initiatives to do in their in their homeland, like in schools and colleges, these places. So it was inspiring. Your words really made them to work more for their own communities and to give back what they learned from they learned from their schools to their own communities, especially literacy program, volunteering and cleaning stuff, like environmental protection project. So it was all awesome, and your words were inspiring for them. Thank you for that.
That's not what I wanted you to say. But thank you, Soraya. So this was timely that you came on the call, because this is a good example of what we never expected this program to turn into. So we had this mentoring program. It led to things like these group sessions. And then one person introduces another. Brezhna, who's in the program now, tells Soraya about something, and then one of us helps Soraya do something in developing leadership and her program with young people there. So that's kind of the conclusion to the story, but I wanted, as long as you were on, you to mention that now. And we'll come back to that in a minute. So we were designing this program, and we wanted these one-on-one sessions, and we wanted some group sessions.
I cannot see others. So would they please on their cameras that I can see how many?
No, we're letting everybody decide to do that. And so just know that there's a couple other people online, and Brezhna is one who you know. Brezhna, do you want to say hi?
Hello, sir.
Brezhna. Oh, Brezhna is here. So hi, Brezhna.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, let me go on then, because I'm describing.
I'm really happy today. Okay, sir. Sorry. I'm really happy that today I can hear Brezhna's voice, because I usually been watching her through videos, and she's been an inspiring girl for Afghans. She is not Malala, but she is Afghan Brezhna. So I'm proud of her. I'm really proud of her. I wish I had her during the session of my camp, that students could hear her voice and learn more about her life and her experiences. So I'm happy today that she's here.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so that's a good example for all of us on one of the benefits of a program like we developed is our ability to connect people through the different things that GYDI has developed into. So let me just get through a couple other things, because people online might be interested in how we overcame the challenge. And so about group learning, we realized that because of technology, sorry, you could turn your microphone off because I think there's some background. Yeah, thank you. We learned that because of the technology challenges, we couldn't have a webinar like this, that with 15 or 20 or 30 people on it. So we decided to record the learning sessions and give everybody access to a recording. And so some of the things we had in mind at the beginning, we realized by testing Skype connection. Soraya, you could turn your mic off until you speak again, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you. And so we had to develop on the run different ways of achieving our goals, and we had to be flexible about that. So what we first wanted to have was group learning sessions live with active Q&A. We realized we couldn't do that because of all the things we already talked about. Some people couldn't connect, there could be power outage, or there could be a security risk that would prevent people from getting to a computer at that time in order to be online with us. So we recorded some sessions and made them available through a private Facebook page. Facebook is kind of our tool for keeping in touch. We have a GYDI participants page that's a closed group. Only mentors and mentees can be in that group. We post information there about that. We post videos about that. We give them information about things that are going to happen. We added to the group sessions, we decided about 6 months into it that from feedback from mentors, that there were certain social issues that were of common interest being addressed by mentors generally. Trauma was something that Brezhnev spoke about already. School home life balance. We knew that for many of the students or mentees that this was the first experience that their families had with students living away from home in a hostel and a university. And when they would go home to visit, maybe it would only be for a short amount of time, and many of them felt guilty about being away from home. And so we had some social workers that did a talking group about school and home balance. Same thing with work-life balance, because many of them were working already. Trauma, I already mentioned. And so we had weekly small group sessions online that dealt with those issues that students, mentees could sign up for. So how are we going to do all of this? Let me skip. I'm not going to play the recordings, but we realized that we couldn't train. We had 83 mentors, 83 mentees, and 83 peer mentors the first year. No, 63, I'm sorry. That we couldn't get them all online at the same time. So we recorded our training sessions. And so I'm not going to play these, but I did some sessions. This is Sana. She did some training sessions. And Garza, we actually had a couple other people participate in it. So we did a series of video trainings for mentors, mentees, and peer mentors, and put them in the cloud, so to speak, and made them accessible for everybody in the program. That was one way we developed to overcome
I found something on the web about a series of video trainings for mentor.
My phone decided to respond to my lecture, sorry. So we had to figure out a way to do that. And so we spent quite a bit of time developing a script and video recordings for training of each of those three groups of people. We created, this is an example of the written materials that we provided as well. Expectations for mentors, expectations for mentees, and then what in actual reality what we expected the mentor to do. A 1 hour call per month, email contact once a week. And we realized we needed to guide people on when responses could be expected because we're all doing other things. And so we made up some arbitrary rule that don't get upset if your mentor or mentee doesn't respond unless it's after 4 days, and then send reminders after that. Those were cultural norms that we really needed to spread across all 180 people that were involved, because some of us live in the time when we expect through a text message, we expect an immediate response. And so we needed to create guidelines and communicate them to everybody in the group. So all of these are copies of written materials that we prepared. Then we realized we had to prepare people for that first meeting. And many times that involved checking out some technology. And so we shared that you can use Zoom, you could use Skype, you might use WhatsApp, Viber. You needed to have a conversation amongst the two of you, the mentor or the peer mentor and the mentee, what's working best for me. And we found that that varied by region, where somebody's home was, whether they were going to be at the university at the time that the call occurred, whether they used Viber or WhatsApp, or often Facebook Messenger seemed to be the best tool to communicate, as did the Facebook calling mechanism. Sheikh, are you still available? He might have got, oh, he had to leave after 30 minutes. So I wanted the Sheikh to share some experiences that he and I have had about the different tools, and he and I used WhatsApp, for example. Masi, you know about WhatsApp being a pretty reliable tool, and we do some other group work and English lessons on Skype. So the point in mentioning all that was that the first conversation had to be, how are we going to do this? And the mentors had to be willing to perhaps change a modality, that if they weren't used to WhatsApp calls, maybe that would be something that they'd have to get on their phone or their computer. If they used Facebook, they had to maybe be taught how to use the telephone function within Facebook, because that seems to be the most reliable connection we found. And so that would be part of the first conversation. And then we told them that between the two of them, we wanted the mentee to prepare a development plan. What are the things I want to talk to you about? All this was done in writing and in video guides that were made accessible. So the mentoring guidelines were put online. We told them to discuss how to get together and how to do all these things. This can get, we're going to make this a little bit more interactive now, but I wanted to explain the detail with which we had to pay attention to the written word and the spoken word, the recorded spoken word. We used a cloud function called Dropbox and made all of the written materials and video materials available in a Dropbox folder. There was a Dropbox folder that was peer mentoring training, regular mentoring training, and mentee training. In each folder were the video conferencing, the video recordings, and the written materials. Once that was done, we were ready to go. We just needed to match mentors and mentees. Because of the cross-cultural concerns, we decided that a photograph and the application or a short bio of the mentor would be helpful. Many times, and I'll just speak honestly, for us in the Western world, there are names where I don't know if it's a male or a female. And that may be true of people in Afghanistan as well. There may be Western names that nobody knows. So we realized a photograph and a bio were going to be quite helpful. So in each folder were the photos and bios of the mentors, peer mentors, and mentees. So when we were ready to make the matches, we had one concern, or many concerns, but one overriding concern was, would because of cultural differences, would a mentee prefer a male or a female mentor? And so we made that option available to everyone, and some chose one or the other, or some were indifferent about it. And once we had that data, I could then begin to match people up. We didn't have the precise ability to match mentees with their particular area of interest. Some were environmental science majors, some were political science majors, some were English majors, but we didn't have the ability to find precise career path matches, but we did the best we could. When we were ready to make the match, an email went to the three members in the match, identifying each other and sending them links to each training folder and a link to what I call a match folder. And in the match folder were the bios of everybody and the photographs of everybody. So once they got the email, they could go to the match, read about everybody else in the plan, have their email address, and maybe even other information that would have been on their bio, phone numbers, and the like. And that began the connection between the people. So that's a lot of detail about the program. But I think what would be helpful for all of us now is just to go to some descriptions from people about what the benefits they might have achieved from it, or just questions generally about the program and how it's working, or how it's not working. What we wanted people to keep in mind of all along was that you had to work with the challenges. For example, now, I think Brezhna just sent us a note that, and I'll read it just so the people who are online. She writes to all of us, since I have no electricity for hours, my phone has enough charge and the battery will die soon. Thank you. And so, Brezhna, if you're still on, thank you for attending. We understand that's an issue, and thank you for participating as long as you can.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you want to say anything before you go? If you have a few minutes left.
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing the link of this call, and I would love to stay for long, but I don't have enough charge and have no electricity. But thank you, everyone. And
Good. Thank you, Brezhna. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.
So, so those are the things we need to make sure that everybody involved in the program is aware of. And one of the things that I learned and strongly believe in, and we do some other things online too, is that's life. We accept that electricity and power and all of that is part of life. We don't call out cultural differences by network capacity anywhere. That we don't highlight those problems. We just accept that and move on and just say, fine, I'll talk to you the next time. And that we don't make people feel bad because my internet is better than your internet. Is that the internet is the internet, and we appreciate everybody if they can stay on for 5 minutes or 5 hours. We appreciate everybody's involvement all the time, and we don't highlight the technical difficulties or challenges in this program. That we don't make that part of it. We tried to design a program. We tried to find people who were patient about it, and that we don't want anybody to say it's too hard to do. We know it's hard to do, but let's not highlight those difficulties. By the same token, we know that there are other issues that go on in Afghanistan that prevent people from being available when they think they can be available. And we don't make that an issue as well. That we talk about the things that we want to talk about, not the negative things. And at this point, I'd like Soraya to come back on. And she's probably a good example of how young people in Afghanistan, you can even turn your video back on, Soraya, if you want. And let's have you share some ideas Soraya is not in GYDI, but she's a young person, highly educated, doing wonderful things to teach young people about the opportunities that exist in her country and to build capacity there. And talk to us a bit about how you see these kinds of programs using technology to bring awareness to things in your country and the benefits that might come from it.
Actually, I don't see technology as a problem in my country. Like if I've been to a province where there is no electricity, but when I meet students and girls, they were inspiring because they work really hard and they could speak the language like without using any internet or any YouTube channels. Like I was surprised by the knowledge and the capacity that they had. Like I was really surprised by them, and it really made me to work more for my country girls, especially in provinces where they lack technology and other facilities that we have. Like we have more opportunity and more facilities, but we are not using them. But when I went to a place where they have no opportunity, there is no opportunity and no technology and no facilities, but in spite of that much difficulty, they were a lot more talented and hardworking than us. Like it was so surprising for me, and we cannot make a reason that technology is can be a reason of our development, but technology is a tool that we can use. If there is no technology, we can still work hard and we can still accomplish our goals the way that I saw the girls where I have been to.
Thank you, Soraya. So go ahead. You have more to say?
If there is a time frame is still left, I want to share also my thoughts.
So I am sorry for not being so prepared, but actually, like I was not planning to come online, but today, like I really wanted to share some like experiences that I had from this camp. So it was so inspiring. We can still believe that there will be something better, that many good things are waiting for Afghanistan. In spite of having a lot of difficulties, we can still work harder to develop in different sectors of life, like education and different sectors. And I saw real examples with my eyes, and it was so inspiring.
Thank you, Soraya. I'm going to let Masi talk, but let me just summarize. So Soraya is saying that even in areas where there's no technology available, people like her can go into the community and do some of the same kinds of things that GYDI is trying to do. We blended technology and your face-to-face work with the students by using speakers that could come in through Zoom and through other technologies to come in. And so we know that technology doesn't rule, but it does create opportunities for education, for development, when used in conjunction with bright young people on the ground like you. And GYDI would not exist if there weren't Sana and Garsanay on the ground in Kabul, driving the force, connecting people, creating people. So what I think, and then Masi will let you share your thoughts, what I think is that we need these kind of partnerships with strong, powerful people on the ground and people who can maybe use technology to supplement the work that you're already doing. Let Masi, because I know he has something to share, and Masi always has the nice things to share with us. So Masi can try to maybe turn your mic off, and we'll let Masi go. And then we're just about out of time, Cynthia, I think, so then we'll wrap it up. Yeah. Masi?
So,
one second, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Just 1 second, okay? Masi? Maybe we lost him. Masi, can you hear? All right, Soraya, you go, and we'll let him get reconnected. He's going to dial back in. This, for the people online, this happens sometimes. What we just recommend, delete your connection and dial back in. So Masi is probably doing that because he and I work together, and so he knows he might get a stronger connection by dialing back in. Soraya, why don't you finish up your thoughts, and then we'll close with Masi in a minute.
So, sir, I would like to recommend something that I have connection in 34 provinces of Afghanistan, with youths. So what if we make them part of this kind of conversations, because they are leading, they have leading roles in their community, and this kind of talks and this kind of motivational speech for them will like further help them to engage in their social, like in their community much more than they are now. Like they can have some kind of advice and academic suggestions from you that can help them a lot more.
I would be happy to do that.
It can create a kind of network because they are on the ground and they will work in their communities. So after I have only 2 weeks here in Kabul, but still like when I go back, I have connection with them and they will be more than happy to join our sessions.
Good.
Such session that we have now. We have students in Kandahar, we have students in Herat and different parts of the country. So as I say that I have a small association. So in my association, we have students from 34 provinces of Afghanistan who are educated and who are university students, and they are doing some social initiative in their communities. So what if we bring them to such kind of mentorships and mentor and mentee programs?
Great. I would be happy to work with you on that. I'll talk to you when we end this call. I'll talk to you offline about that, and we'll do that. And I want to share with you Cynthia's program, which is an online peer mediation program. I'm going to share with you some information about that because I think you might be a good person to introduce that to your community. You have a broad reach of students, and we have a really interesting program that would be great. Another skill set that I think your students would love, your peers would really love to be involved with. And so I think we'll close. Masi may not be able to get on. I would just like to close by saying I hope everybody who is able to see the video understands that there are challenges, but with a hardworking team on the ground in a community and our willingness to persist, that we can do things that have an impact that just grows and grows and grows with some genuinely wonderful people, as you've been able to see in this video. So with that, I think I'll conclude and let Cynthia do the final wrap up.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you so much, everyone who's been on. I'm just going to mute everybody for just a moment as we close up. So we will send this recording out. Please share. Feel free to share this recording with whomever you wish. This is open source property. So just make sure that you share it out. And we have free webinars every month. We'll have another webinar actually August 29th on student-teacher mediation. So I hope everyone can put that on your calendar for those that you're watching this video. It will be at 6 p.m. There is a sign up on Facebook for our online peer mediation platform page. Please feel free to join that page, send the word out, and we are just so excited that Tom, that you were able to be on today, and thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
All right.
Bye, everybody.